Rob, I know everybody's talking about the World Cup, but two big games coming up, Nations League-wise, and because the World Cup is so close, does that make these games even more important?
Yeah, we've got 2 games prep before the World Cup, so we want to use it to get as many benefits out of it as possible. You know, as soon as these games are over, the World Cup will be on us before we know it. So, you know, we've got nothing in October. We normally would have an autumn camp in October, but because of the World Cup, we haven't. So by the time we finish this camp, November will be on us straight away, and we'll be, you know, flying over to Qatar ready for the World Cup. So 2 big games, like you said, because we want to stay in the division. You know, it's been a difficult start for us because of the final that was in between the 2 games, which I've spoke about before. But we'll be giving it everything now to go and win the games.
Have Wales done well in the Nations League? They've obviously done well, but has the Nations League been good for Wales in a way?
Yeah, look, when we come into this competition in this division, we want to play against the best teams in Europe, and Belgium and Holland, of course, fall into that category, and Poland, and we want to compete against them. I wanted to use it as an exercise as well to give some of the younger players, and I keep using Brennan as an example, and I think since I first said this a few months ago, he's gone to another level, playing in the Premiership, playing really well, scoring in the Premiership. So I'm still going to use him as an example because it's beneficial for people like him to expose him to playing against the likes of Holland away and scoring goals, and you know, it might not be now that he reaps the rewards of that, but it might be in a few months' time that he scores the winner in an important game for us because of the experience and exposure he's had to these teams now. So that was the idea behind the exercise. But like I said, 2 games to go. On another day, looking back at the games with the late goals against Holland and the point against Belgium, but then the chances we created and missed against Belgium, you know, on another day we could be sat a lot further up the table, top or second maybe. So, you know, a lot of encouraging signs from the group, but like I said, we want to stay in the group now.
Not that we haven't had a fair crack of the whip. It is what it is, the way the fixtures landed with the Ukraine game and the playoffs.
Yeah.
But are there slight regrets that we haven't been able to go for it in these Nations League games properly?
Well, I wouldn't change it for the world. What's happened? We've qualified for the World Cup, so you know, you just have to grin and bear it. You have to take the rough with the smooth, and unfortunately, because of that final, you know, it was impacted the game that we played in Poland. There's no guarantees in life, of course not, and in football. But if we hadn't had the final 3 days later, then I would have picked a different team, and on paper, we wouldn't have lost that game. And that had an impact on the game after it as well against Holland. So, you know, those 2 games were definitely, you know, factored into. We couldn't play our starting 11, our best 11. But having said that, there were some big performances from some of the squad players as well, and it was a worthwhile exercise for that. Despite
everything, we could still end up staying in this group, in Group A. How much of an achievement would that be?
Well, it'd be brilliant. If we could say we've stayed in the division and qualified for the World Cup, then that would be a massive achievement. You know, what the boys have done is incredible anyway, qualifying for the World Cup. But you know, we want to stay. We've set ourselves standards now and targets, and we want to stay. And I'd be really proud of the players if we achieved that.
We love our stats. I was boasting to my friends the other day how much I know about the squad. No teenagers in the squad when it was first announced. That's changed in the last few days. Luke Harris coming in, Jordan James coming in, 17 and 18. How good are they for us? How good could they be for us? Sorry.
Look, they're doing really well at the minute, and that's why I've involved them in the squad. You know, granted, we've had a couple of injuries. We've got Harry out, we've got Aaron out, we've got Joe out, we've got Ben out. 4 senior players for us. So it's an opportunity for me again to underpin what I'm trying to do with these Nations League games and expose some of our younger players to not just the environment that we've created here, but to the level of opposition that they're going to face. Luke is doing extremely well. He's on the bench in the Premiership, so he's doing something right. And JJ is playing Championship football, and with Joe's injury, it's a perfect opportunity to introduce the pair of them now into this environment, give them a little taste of what's to come in future for them. And if they providing they keep developing as they are doing, and I've been nothing but impressed in the couple of days that they've been here so far.
I think we all heard reports that Joe Allen was going off on the weekend for Swansea, and we're all holding our breath at the minute. That's how it is. It seems like nothing's too long term, everybody's fine, but how nervous are these few weeks? Yeah,
well, of course they are, yeah, but I spoke to Aaron, and like I said, if it was going to happen, now's the time for it to happen. You know, I had to pull the reins on Harry a little bit. He was desperate to be here for this camp, and he was pushing himself to maybe be a part of the Poland game on Sunday, and I just said, look, you're on the plane, just relax. I don't want you pushing yourself for this and then breaking down in a couple of weeks' time because you've pushed yourself so hard and then missing the World Cup. What's the point in that? So, we've got other players that can step up, like Brennan again, and like an opportunity for Luke Harris now to come in. So we've got players in the squad that are more than capable of giving a performance for us.
Yeah, it must be so nice for somebody like Harry. He's on the plane, but to get that assurance from the manager must be a relief for him. How many definites are there? I know you're not going to give us all the details, but there are a few that are on the plane, of course.
Yeah, and there's not going to be any real surprises, if I'm honest. I am that type of man that the players have been outstanding for me, and I'll stay loyal to the group of players that have got us there. What a great opportunity for them. I said about the senior players, one thing they were missing off their CV was a World Cup. I'm not going to then spoil that for them and start, messing about with the squad for that reason. So there'll be no major surprises. It doesn't mean the door's closed to other players out there. If somebody's doing well and I think they can benefit us as a group and help us win games in the World Cup, we've got a chance of getting out of the group. So I want to give us the best opportunity by having the best team around us, and I will have a look at the squad accordingly. But I don't think there's going to be any major surprises.
And you mentioned on the plane, someone who's been on lots of planes is Gareth Bale, obviously.
Yeah.
He's here. We saw the video of him arriving. Great to see him with the squad.
Yeah.
Is he ready for it?
Yeah, absolutely. He came in yesterday. He's fully committed. The detail he's gone into, taking upon himself with regards to his sleeping regime before he even got here, again speaks volumes about him as a character. And I want the Lukes and the JJs to be looking at him. Already they're blown away by him. I spoke to the two young ones yesterday and just said, how are you finding it? And I said, have you spoke to Gareth? And they were just, in awe of him again, like everybody is. And he's great with the young ones as well. He made a point of going over to them and speaking to them and making them feel relaxed. And I want those young ones looking at the detail and the professionalism that he's got. And that's why he's had the career he's had. So even little things like that, to have that influence on the younger players is going to be beneficial for us. So yeah, he's looked after himself. He's in a great place. He looks physically, in good nick again. So there's no concerns there with him.
So has he been changing his time zone basically and his clock in California?
Yeah. As soon as the game finished, I think he didn't go to bed straight away, or he waited until it was time for us to go to bed and try to sleep or leave it until he got on the plane so that the times married up with us. And he did look tired last night, but he fought it and then managed to get off to sleep, and he looks all right this morning. So it's obviously what he's done has worked. Jet
lag, it's a funny thing. And just finally, have you allowed yourself just to think about the World Cup yet and what it'll mean in 2 months' time?
I think I'll get these two games out of the way, and then I'll be, we've had a couple of meetings already, logistics and about the analysis. We've already gone over some clips of the USA game, and we've got a lot about England, of course. So I'm flying out next week to watch USA. They play in Spain, so I'm going to go and have a look at some work there, do some work out there. So get these two games out of the way. Full focus is on this, trying to stay in this division, and then once these games are over, there'll be full focus on the World Cup.
Just remember, actually, there's a gentleman here from Iran, a reporter from Iran, that shows everything, different World Cups on a different level. He wanted us to ask you a question about Iran as well. Right. Just shows the interest, I guess. It's just global, isn't it?
Of course it is, and that's what we wanted, wasn't it? We wanted to put Wales on the world stage, and we've done it. We're competing now with the best in the world, and that's exactly what we want, and interest is going to come from around all the world. So we've asked for it, so yeah, we'll embrace it.
And to keep the gentleman from Iran happy, are you ready for Iran as well?
Yeah. They've had a little bit of, they've changed the manager, haven't they? And we don't know a lot about them. If I'm being completely honest, we're still in the process of trying to find out or trying to get some analysis on them. But that's a work in progress, put it that way.
Yeah, random question, right? But promised I'd ask. Rob, thank you very much for your time. Good luck over the next week, and looking forward already.
Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you.